Director, L'Oreal. Previously, he has worked as category expert in NYX Professional Makeup. He's also worked in Pakistan State Oil Company and Isaac Malaysia development trainee at Isaac Malaysia, and many more. So I'll hand over the mic to Mr. Humble so that he can start the session.
Thank you so much. Yusra, can you see my screen?
Um,
Yes, we
yes,
can.
yes, yes, we can.
Yes, all right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. You've been very kind with the introduction. Some of the things even I didn't remember. PSO में मैंने internship की थी बहुत पहले. But yes, let me start off with the formal introduction to myself. Number one, thank you so much for taking out the time, guys. I wish that today's session can be more engaging than just a one-way flow. Otherwise, it's only beneficial for me and my speaking skills, and not for you guys to challenge me as an HR professional. So please, please, please do raise your hands, do send in your questions, do open your mic when you want to and ask me throughout. If I just give you a brief intro of myself, just give me 1 second. So, of course, I'm what they call a L'Oreal baby, and I was a management trainee from the batch of 2013. I graduated in 2012. I'm from Islamabad, from IBA, as Yusra already mentioned, and a really big music buff and really into sports. I keep trying new stuff. Very recently, a couple of years ago, I took up golfing as a habit. Usse pehle, abhi paddle is the craze, so I'm also playing that very regularly, as well as tennis. So before that, football, basketball, rowing, sailing, you name it, I've pretty much done it. My professional career started as an MT, like I mentioned, in 2013, and I actually ended up in marketing. So right out of graduation from the MT program of 2013, I became the junior product manager for Maybelline, which I did for a year, a little over a year, and then I shifted to L'Oreal Paris, जहाँ पे I did makeup again. And I did 1 year of skincare as well. I was lucky enough to do what was very big back in the day. तो इतना नहीं होता, which is the L'Oreal Paris Bridal Week, which used to happen in Lahore. I was also lucky enough to work with many, many top industry artists, as well as production houses, and do everything that a marketer, aspires to do when they come straight out of university. Okay, yeah, I want to work on 360 launches and all of that stuff. And makeup really helped because makeup is a very fast, changing, fad-based, trendy category, and the products keep coming, and you have to keep launching. I launched baby lips in Pakistan for all the females who might be in this call might know it. So I'm the one who brought that. And again, like Yusra mentioned, I was handling NYX professional makeup before I shifted into HR. And that, again, very fortunately happened in Paris, in our head office, right outside Paris, in the city called Clichy, is where our head office is. And I did that for 2.5, close to 3 years, where I was leading NYX as a brand for Africa, Middle East. So उस वक्त South Africa से Pakistan तक, all the countries that we operated in. Then in 2020, for many reasons, personal as well as professional, I decided to come back and shift to HR. And I came back as the first learning and people development manager. That's where I also got married, and now I have, mashallah, 2 kids. In the 4.5 years that I've been in HR, I have done 2 years of learning, 1 year of something very important called talent acquisition, which is all about hiring, recruiting, firing, offers, etc. Very relevant to Brandstorm that you guys might know as students, etc. That we do, comes under talent acquisition. And then a year and a half ago, I took over as the HR director from the ex HRD Sana, who also had a great equity within LUMS and Pakistan, and still does as an HR professional. And it continues, and then I'm ending it with a little line that I've lived by throughout my life, which is that I'm a product of my experiences. I firmly believe that. And why do I believe that? I used to, like I said, I've tried my hand at everything. I did 10 months of finance before this. I've interned at a bank as well. I used to be a pre-medical student in A levels. In O levels, I was a chemistry student. IBA, I did BBA in marketing. I did 6 years of marketing and now 4 years of HR. So if you ask me, KR, will you continue being an HR professional? For now, yes, but I don't know in the future. पहले मजाक उड़ता था कि you're a jack of all, master of none. But today they call it transversality and they really celebrate it. कि you have to be a generalist. You have to know many different things at the same time. Personally, this is who I am. I can't change myself for anyone else. I'm just fortunate that I found a company like L'Oreal which helped me, which really celebrates this sort of, let's say, transversality. Um, and how I live my life is, if I don't try it, then how do I know if I'm good at it, or how do I know if I will like it or not? I always used to be envious of the kids, and I'm sure there are many today as well who feel that they know exactly what they want to do. Bein jana hai. I was never that kid. I didn't know where I wanted to end up. But I was fortunate. I always say I'm an anomaly. I'm very lucky to have found a place where I've stuck around for 11 years, and I wish all of you can also find that for yourselves when you graduate. And if you don't, it's okay, because you will experience, you will learn along the way. um, Before I tell you my tips on career, थोड़ी सी heavy slide है लेकिन बहुत important है, because this is our view of what Pakistan is going through, what the talent is. When we meet you as kids, etc., as talent of Pakistan, this is what we are talking about on a day-to-day basis, and you should know this. I'll get there. So Pakistani market जो है ना, how we treat it, how we look at it as L'Oreal is कि it's a multitude of global and local brands. I've missed out the local brands, sorry, like the Shans, the Nationals, etc., with a very strong footprint. L'Oreal is relatively still younger, right? It's 15 years old in Pakistan. Footprint, legacy, or investment very high. So even the local market, local brands that you have are great. And then when a bazaar separately likha hua tha, because I will touch upon the startup revolution, as we call it. In the professional field, how we define this is that we started with the Great Resignation, जब ये COVID आया था. So I'm covering the last 3-4 years for you guys to understand. That's probably around the time you started getting into your universities. Then there was a great revival when COVID ended, and then retention started. Today we are at a phase called the talent shortage. Why? Because over the past year and a half, many of you, and I'm sure कि आप में से भी काफी होंगे, who have aspired and who have sought better lives, better livelihoods, better careers, higher education outside of Pakistan with a wish to not return. And it's unfortunate for a country like Pakistan, because now when I go to the market, I promise you, something as simple as a marketing talent is hard to find. And you guys should know this. The reason is कि जहाँ एक शॉर्टेज होती है वहां पे एक फिर अपॉर्चुनिटी भी बनती है. सो राइट नाउ द ओनली थिंग विच इज नॉट वर्किंग फॉर यू इन योर फेवर इज कि जहां हम एक हॉट मार्केट हुआ करते थे, टुडे वी आर नॉट अ हॉट मार्केट. हॉट मार्केट का मतलब ये होता है कि यू हैव वेरी हाई पोजिशंस अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट. सो यूर लाइक कि मैं रिजाइन कर रहा हूँ, मुझे बेहतर ऑफर मिल गया. राइट नाउ वी आर गोइंग थ्रू समथिंग नोन एज अ स्लो मार्केट, विच मीन्स के पीपल आर नॉट लिविंग because they want that security. Inflation is very high, macroeconomics are very high, so they are being very careful about taking any sort of risk which can impact their own income, or their own realities in the market that they're staying. I think I'm getting some sort of an echo, but I'll continue. Right now, the companies are fighting not for talent; they're fighting on benefits. Last year was all about inflation. एकदम से inflation आई, पाकिस्तान में devaluation हुआ, तो काफी लोग started companies starting giving inflation adjustments etc. And we also gave one. कुछ ने one off दिया, कुछ ने एक permanent solution दे दी, कुछ ने as an allowance दे दी etc. But now it has become a war of benefits, because everyone is paying very equal in the market. एक आधी कंपनी ज्यादा देती है, but benefits are what people are fighting on. कि अच्छा गाड़ी कौन सी मिलेगी, अच्छा ये वाली allowance क्या है. Medical is a very big fight these days कि OPD कितना मिलेगा, IPD कितना मिलेगा. These sort of things matter now. At the same time, I want you to guys to know about what is our view on you guys as talent, as kids or youth that we're going to hire from. And the first thing is, you guys are much better than my generation or the generation before that in terms of your side hustle. Every second person I meet is some sort of an influencer or has some sort of a bakery running on the side, or even, and it's validated from the fact that if you look, if Fiverr or Fiverr, whatever you call it, it's growing in Pakistan, and these are the top companies in Pakistan. Where freelancing has become a very big option for kids as well. Um, a lot of rise has been in skill-based talent. Always remember, skill-based talent is what will set you apart. And if the skill is in demand, you're already a hot commodity. Something as simple as, for example, मैं कहता हूँ लॉरियल पाकिस्तान में education का एक sector है, which means the team which goes to a salon to teach people how to apply hair color, give the whole treatments, etc. That is a talent which cannot be replicated. And if you couple that with the fact कि किसी की higher education है etc, it's unbeatable, and it's something which people would pay, and pay better than the other person to hire in a salon, in a company like L'Oreal, etc., and by Revlon, Chevron, and all of these markets as well, and companies as well. The third, like I mentioned, you guys have a strong desire to move abroad. कोई अगर L'Oreal को join भी करते हैं, and I'm not talking about just kids, I'm talking about youth. Youth for me is everyone who is below 30. 2-3 साल करते हैं, they want to move abroad. It wasn't as evident as a trend when I was graduating, because हमारा ज़्यादा security के ऊपर था कि यार अच्छी जगह नौकरी लग जाए, stable income आ जाए, etc. Right now, people are willing to let that go if they are promised a step abroad. So this is very true to your generation, which brings me to my last point, which is Gen Z wants empowerment. You guys are very different than my generation, and Gen Alpha is going to be completely different, of course. That's the reality that we live in. But what is different about you guys? Jahan hame, and we need to understand as well, and the boomers need to understand a lot more because they're still coming to terms with how my generation works and moves. Um, for example, number one, जहां हम कहते हैं आप लोग थोड़े फिकल हो, I believe it's not the case. You want more quicker change. फिकल का मतलब ये है कि तुम लोग आप लोग थोड़े से brand loyal कम हो. So you don't join a company and want to stay there for the rest of your lives. You want to make those shifts, etc. Blah blah blah. Whereas I feel that you guys have a better purpose versus what we used to have. We wanted to work for the money. You guys want to work at a place which will meet your internal purpose. And if something, for example, does not speak to you on a personal level of saying, कि, yeah, I don't believe in these practices, you might not do it. For example, very simple example is tobacco. If it doesn't meet your internal purpose, you might say, कि I will never even apply there. We would still apply. 10 companies आई हैं, 10 जगहों पे हम apply करते थे. Last is a LinkedIn insight that I recently got a year ago, but is still relevant today. जब हम अपने रीजन को देखते हैं ना, सैप मीना, साउथ एशिया पैसिफिक, मिडल ईस्ट, नॉर्थ अफ्रीका, पाकिस्तान में क्या नजर आता है कि अगर एक स्किल है जहां पे आप लोगों को लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट जिसको कहते हैं, कि अभी डिमांड नहीं आई है इतनी, लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे आज अगर डेटा वाला बंदा चाहिए, आई डोंट नो विच यूनिवर्सिटी आई नीड टू गो टू हायर द बेस्ट एम्प्लॉय ऑन डेटा, या मेरी एक पोजीशन है, आई स्वेट आई किड यू नॉट, पूरे पाकिस्तान में शायद सिर्फ दराज के पास वो सेम टाइटल था. इट वाज कॉल्ड अ सोशल मीडिया एडवोकेसी एंड इन्फ्लुएंसर मैनेजर. I don't know which university I need to go to find such a person. So everything to do with data and digital is a very low hanging fruit for you guys, in the sense that if you build that skill, sooner or later people will start asking, and they have already started asking. We have set up our CDMO जहाँ पे हमने 5-6 लोग hire किए हैं on consumer marketing intelligence, on media excellence, on e-commerce expertise and performance analytics, and in the future there will be data scientists, etc. So if you guys aspire for that, and I know I've spoken to a lot of kids who have now stopped saying कि हमने marketing में जाना है या हमने e-commerce में जाना है, और वो कहते हैं हमें data का कोई data centric काम करना है, which is great. 10 years ago when 15 years ago when I graduated, I would have never said that. That's too vague for me. For me, what was कि भाई मुझे marketing की job दे दें, I'm happy there. So good, you guys are working towards a good purpose. This is what we look at when we are coming to your universities to try and find the best talent. It is जब मैं MTV हायर कर रहा होता ना, back in my mind, I know exactly कि मुझे कहाँ पे उसको invest करना है. मुझे ये भी पता है कि मैं उसको वर्सेस अदर मार्केट्स एंड कंपटीशन क्या दूंगा तो वो मोटिवेटेड रहेगा. मुझे ये भी इस पीछे पता होता है कि जेन जी है तो हाउ डू आई नीड टू चेंज माई सेल्फ. मुझे ये भी पता है कि इसको मैं ना करूंगा तो शायद टैलेंट शॉर्टेज है, तो मुझे दो तीन और लोगों को पीछे एज एज अ काउंटर रखना पड़ेगा. सो इट्स नेवर के बस आगे और बस मेरिट पे हायर कर लिया. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट गो इनटू द होल piece of the puzzle. And I hope you also the only reason of showing this is so that you have a better understanding of how the companies look at it. Now company done, it's more about you guys. Excuse me. So I did one thing before I came to this session. I've have the pleasure of hosting at least 13 to 14 interns in the office right now, as well as 6 management trainees existing who are youth, as well as other youth sitting outside the office. I think 10 of those are from LUMS, and some of them might even be in the session right now. Um, so I did a little focus group with some of them. I asked them, okay, when HR used to come to you, what did you want to know about careers? These are the top questions which came out of all these people. There were a lot of questions about, yeah, when I was a student, I wanted to know how to navigate my career. I was like, okay, what do you mean by that? कि मैं डिसिप्लिन किस तरह चूज करूं, डज माई डिग्री इम्पैक्ट, और इस तरह के सवाल लोग पूछते भी हैं. व्हेन आई कम टू जॉब फेयर्स एटसेट्रा, दीज बी इट IBA, LUMS, Habib, एटसेट्रा, दे ऑलवेज आस्क मी सच क्वेश्चंस कि am I doing the right degree for XYZ, for example. A very interesting, of course, एंजाइटी बहुत होती है कि अगर जॉब नहीं मिली तो क्या होगा. बट व्हाट वाज मोर इंटरेस्टिंग इज कि जॉब मिल गया तो क्या होगा, which meant के, and I wrote it down on my board as well, कि I've spent this entire life where I didn't have such responsibilities, and then all of a sudden now I'm expected to have a job, do a 9 to 5. University is very easy, nobody prepares me for it. So how do I prepare for that change, that emotional benefit? Again, not to downplay it, but at my time I wouldn't even think this, but at your time this is something very relevant, and kids say it. Okay, I want to be able to have that personal life as well, and not resign to a 9 to 5 setting. I want that more flexibility, etc. And that's how you see so many changes, etc. Work from homes, etc. COVID की वजह से आया, but now it's kind of stuck around. L'Oreal gives 2 days work from home in a week, for example. Flexibility they ask for, like for example, another recent policy that we've made is ke mothers, no meetings for mothers on school pickup and school drop off. You would have never discussed this 15 years ago or 20 years ago, but now it's a thing, and we respect it and we understand कि flexibility देनी चाहिए. That's how the person will love you more and work for you more, etc., and be more motivated and enabled. Age old question. I will cover this as well. How do I ace an interview? Job kaise milegi? Of course, we're all working and we want to apply the theoretical that we've learned and the application through a job. How good are we? And how do we ace that interview that we have? What is the best field for me? Purpose. This was again very, very interesting. I will come to it. I will not talk a lot about this because I have a separate slide for it. What sort of skills do you need to do well? So I just told you one skill. Data, digital is the future, is the present, and all the rest remains relevant as well. ऐसा नहीं है. Some of the things I will tell you which are very relevant to you, very young, is कि यार, it doesn't hurt to have good skills on Excel. Excel way above all the rest of the tools that I'm going to tell you now. Because Excel पे आपको काम करना ही करना है. And my biggest concern, not concern, but feedback to IBA back in the day, I don't know how LUMS does this, is the same thing. कि ना उन्होंने कभी हमें वर्ड वर्ड कर लेते थे, एक्सेल के ऊपर कुछ सिखाया ना, उन्होंने कभी हमें पीपीटी के ऊपर सिखाया ना, उन्होंने हमें कोई स्किल कभी सिखाई. We just honestly just kept doing it. It will help you. It's not a requirement because people learn it on the job, but will it help you? 150%. Having better skills on Excel. uh, Canva, will it help you at a company like L'Oreal? 150%. You will probably be doing a lot of Canva work, artworks, etc. We're really into all of this beauty related nonsense. So making an artwork for everything, something as simple as let's go for lunch today, you'll see an artwork coming in through Canva, which has become very relevant for you guys. I know. Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator. If you can make videos, it does not matter if you're in finance. I'm telling you, if you can make a video, irrespective of the function you end up in a company like L'Oreal, it will help you. People will rely on you. You will have some social currency in the organization. They will come to you and they will obviously ask favors from you. So these sort of things matter. But if you're talking strictly professional, the skill of the future is क्या कहते हैं, data and digital, 100% for a company like L'Oreal and for a place like Pakistan. Understanding career paths. I've kept the slides very generic, very easy to read and understand. Singular slides, something relevant, because I don't want to bore you and I want to leave the last half an hour for you guys to ask me questions, which leaves me with 33 minutes and we'll be done most probably. So, linear career paths are dead. There is no such thing as ke, again, I will keep on coming to generation, which is कि मेरे generation में था या मेरे अम्मी अब्बू के generation में था कि become job security, stability, spending time justifying why you should be promoted, and going step by step by step. A lot of organizations, even in Pakistan, are based on that hierarchy today as well. I won't lie. But I don't want to tell you just about Pakistan. You're from LUMS. I think you should have a more global view versus a very minute local view or two, three company centric view. Um, that linear path is now dead. I am from the previous generation and I'm telling you, I haven't followed a linear path. I went marketing, like I said, or even before that, if you take me to school, it was a different school. University was different. Chemistry, bio ke baad ad math, blah blah blah, all of that ended up in doing business ke baad finance, finance ke baad marketing ke baad HR. What is true is that I do believe transversality has to be coupled with the right amount of time spent. What do I mean by that? I mean, only you will be able to tell, and this my ex CEO used to say this, कि you need to be ready before the boss asks you to be ready. You will define कि marketing के expert, या for example, let's say आप E key account manager बन जाते हो to start off your career, right? You will define when are you ready to leave that. That will only happen when you have become a master at it or you become an expert at that E key account management. That can happen in 1 year as well, my dears. You can also take 2 years. You can also be on that role for 5 years and not become it. And of course, देखो baseline हमेशा merit रहेगी. So your work will speak for itself when you are given a certain rating, when the same way you guys are given certain grades, which shows your capability to do that thing well, right? Um, but what will make you more well-rounded as a manager or a generalist in the future will always be when you take two, three, कभी पीछे आना पड़ेगा, कभी टाइटल ड्रॉप करना पड़ेगा, कभी शायद compensation में कम करना पड़ेगा. My first job used to pay 1.5 times more than the management trainee job of L'Oreal, but I left it because I thought that I was going to learn better. And I think over the course of the 10 years, it was the right decision to make because today I'm sitting in a mancom position. What's to say I could not make it there as well, but I still feel that being a 34-year-old HRD for a company in Pakistan is a big achievement. It doesn't normally happen. And again, I always say I'm an anomaly. It doesn't always happen. So my only take to you guys is कि कभी भी जब अपने career के बारे में सोचोगे ना, start somewhere. I will touch upon the anxiety bit later on in the presentation. It's the last thing, but I will still say it. I don't know. Maybe Yusra can tell me. Let's suppose you have 2,500 kids graduating from your batch. I think even 1% won't make it to the to the companies that you're aspiring for. Does that mean that the 99% are shit? Sorry, excuse my French. No, you're not. It just means that the opportunity is not right there. Maybe you had a bad interview. It just means that the interviewer was biased. Maybe the role finished. I don't know. It could be a million factors. I'm telling you, I did not write outside of IBA. I did not start at L'Oreal. I went to this shitty place called SNL in Islamabad because that's where I'm from. Pretty much like a call center, to be honest. But and working in finance, which I hated, for stocks and oil and God knows what all. But I ended up in doing the job or the dream job that I wanted to have, being a management trainee. डू नॉट फिक्सेट कि भाई बे नहीं जाना है बेन जाएगा एक जाएगा दो चले जाएंगे पांच चले जाएंगे बट इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप कंसल्टेंसी नहीं कर सकते देर आर अ मिलियन अदर प्लेसेस and this is the advice I gave to my interns as well and I'll give it to you guys as well sooner or later the same companies who you were dying to get in will be the ones contacting you if you do one thing well which is on merit you guys outperform all the rest. It's a simple factor of how much time you're going to spend into a practice to become better at it. So my only advice in careers is start off somewhere. Shukar karo, you're still better than 100 other people who are still searching for a job or who will never get that job. If something has come your way, accept it, start it until and unless something better comes and learn. You are supposed to be a sponge at this age. You are supposed to compromise a little bit on maybe where you want to work now but later on, when you've proved yourself, you've proved your haters, and you've proved to everyone that your work speaks for itself, I promise you these companies will come themselves asking for you. And then you can say, told you, or you can use it in their face that, you rejected me 3 years ago. Do it. Why not? I had a teacher in IBA who told me I will never amount to something. I still tell that teacher that, hey, I'm the HRD. Just out of spite. No, I'm just messing. That never happened. Don't quote me. I will deny it. Um, Moving on. What do we hire on? What do we hire on? I cannot speak for a Unilever. I cannot speak for a PNG. They have their own methodology. But I think one thing, अगर कोई HR ये नहीं कर रहा पाकिस्तान में या बाहर तो वो गलत कर रहा है. This is what I personally believe. That is the first step, which is the performance versus potential debate. Also, I would love if someone can keep guessing the pop culture references so that I don't feel very old, at least in the chat of saying who this is. That would be super cool. But coming back to what I just mentioned, the performance versus potential debate. Listen, guys, you are students. I'm not hiring you to replace my CEO. मैं आपको आज एज अ फ्रेश ग्रेजुएट इसलिए नहीं ला रहा क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि आप आएंगे और आप बदल देंगे सब कुछ नो एंड एनी एचआर हु इज हायरिंग यू based on this alone in their minds is doing the wrong thing. That's what I believe. Because as youth, I will always hire you based on potential. And they should always hire you based on your potential, which means, okay, do I see the right attitude, the right intangibles? They're very hard. And that's why management trainee hirings and intern hirings are the most difficult and you do all these games and every company has these set of pata nahi C factor and God knows what all to get you guys through and make sure that there are two three different types of processes to get the perfect match because I'm hiring you today to be the CEO in 15 to 20 years. So it's a big risk. I don't want to risk spending so much time, effort, money into Brandstorm and God knows what all, and meeting you 10 times and having you on my WhatsApp groups with my team and inviting you to office and telling my CEO to interview the final candidates and doing campus ambassadors just so that you can write a good post on people of IB and lumps. No, I don't care about that. Go write whatever you want. I want the right people in this organization, and in 10 years' time, be able to celebrate them the same way someone hired me 10 years ago as a management trainee and saw me take a head of a function role and say to me that, remember, 9 years ago, I told you you should do HR and you wanted to do marketing, and look where you are today. That is the biggest sense of achievement I will get. And right now, I'm about to give you the key, which I always give because you can't cheat. You can't cheat me. Okay, what is that five dimensions of potential that L'Oreal hires on? It's very simple. It is ambition, resilience, empathy, judgment, and learning agility. In all of this, if there's one thing which you guys should not compromise on, if I was a student today, I would not compromise on, is learning agility. And the anchor of all of this is attitude, the right attitude. Nobody wants a whiner at your age. Nobody wants someone who looks at stuff negatively. They all want someone who's going to come in, show that agility. कि, "Bhai, I want to learn this. I want to excel in this. Give me more. I'm a sponge. Please give me something which is not in my JD, etc." We would always love someone like that who shows that ownership, right? Judgment, empathy, resilience, ambition. All of this needs to be built through your experiences, which brings me to my next section, which is the cursed job interview. Some tips I've shared previously, but I will share again. Prepare yourself. Yes, I know, I understand that we have technical glitches. We're living in an age जहाँ आज भी हम virtually connected हैं, and I'm speaking through a screen. I don't even know if people are listening or on their phones or sitting on the side. The only person I can see is Yusra, who's intently listening. But yes, I understand कभी internet पाकिस्तान का इतना अच्छा नहीं होता, ये वो etc. But still make the effort. I promise you, it's subconscious when these things will leave an impact. If the lighting is not nice, or if you can't see me, it's not going to land the same message as someone in a very silent room, no disturbance, seated properly, more professionally. I promise you, I have had kids from the top universities, I'm not going to name them, switch their phones on while they're lying down on the bed or while they're in a very unprofessional posture. What sort of a message does that send across in terms of how do you feel about working at that company versus someone who has taken out the effort of saying, "Okay, I'm 100%. I sent you a resume. I sent you an email before this saying that these are the things you should that I forgot to mention, etc." I've had such people as well who've done the pre-work, the actual interview, and the post work of interviews as well. It's about how badly you want it and how much do you want to go out of the way. Research. One of the things which is a pet peeve of mine is um, it only takes a very small time to go and understand. You would be shocked at the amount of times people confuse L'Oreal with L'Oreal Paris. And maybe even it's eye opening for some of you right now that L'Oreal is the name of the group. The company is called L'Oreal. L'Oreal Paris is a brand that we have, same like Garnier, same like Kerastase, etc. And they will keep referring it to as L'Oreal Paris, L'Oreal Paris, L'Oreal Paris. So do your research. You want to work in a company, please, the same way we are expected to read everyone's CV and know who they are versus just finding out there and then and preparing our questions, which we do. You guys should also put in the same effort because the opportunity cost क्या है यही है कि if you won't do it 10 other kids will do it, so you lose a maybe have worse probability of getting that job. The CV, no, there's no format. I like the lumps format. I'll be very honest. A lot of your CVs come and they're very easy to read. Yes, I don't want 4-page CVs. Yes, I don't want 3-page CVs. As kids, I don't want 2-page CVs as well. No, you haven't done more than. If I, after 11 years of work experience, can put my CV in 1 page, I promise so can you. No, cover letters don't give you an added benefit. The CV format is the best format that you have. It should be very impactful in terms of the fact that don't fill it with words, fill it with realities, fill it with what you can defend, because we will ask you questions from your CV, and fill it with the right message on which you want the interviewer to take the conversation. So the right words. Some people are specific enough to make specific CVs for specific companies, and that can definitely help. So, for example, for L'Oreal, you would make it based on the 5 dimensions of potential that I just showed you and the culture that we have, versus PNG, which might want to look at 10 other things versus what L'Oreal is looking at. If you want to do that, do that. Great. It doesn't matter. It can help you. Last but not least, the amount of times I have to say this out to people, that you have to be yourself. You cannot try and behave a certain way just to dupe an interview. It will come out. The process is very, very, very transparent. We have been doing this for years and years. There's not only one person who meets you, there are different people who meet you. Especially for you guys as youth, you will go through Brandstorm, you will go through Brandstorm managers, empties, ex Brandstormers, you will go through the HRD and the CU to make it to this company. If you change, we have the same assessment criteria. We will see a discrepancy there. Um, I always also mention it's a win-win model. I understand it can sound a little bit conceited at this level where I'm saying, KR, you also try and see if you want to work for that company, because sometimes you're like saying, KR, job mil jaye, that's more than enough. But sooner or later, if it's not a win-win model, and a win-win model is that you want to work for the company and the company wants you, sooner or later you will get frustrated or the company will get frustrated. So, and you will leave. So it's okay to start somewhere. And this is for a self-awareness. I keep mentioning I am a lucky one that I had this win-win model, that the company was wanted me and I really want this company, and hence I haven't left for 11 years, and it'll take something very serious for me to leave this company. Same way, I hope and wish that in the next 2, 3, 5 years, or maybe even under 1 year, you guys can find that win-win model for yourselves as well. I'm not going to go into this. You all of you know your interview process kaise hota hai, कि how will I ask you questions? I will always start with a situation. I will go into a task. I will ask you about an action कि आपने क्या किया, result क्या थे, आपकी learning क्या थी. The entire point of this is very simple. We are looking at the depth of each candidate. Like I said, when you go into the stair model that you see, I can very clearly tell ki is someone making shit up or is someone actually. So your CV becomes very important. When I start asking you something that you've put there or something you say in the interview and you cannot defend it, it means that either you're not aware or you're making stuff up or there's something missing, right? Or you're taking credit for somebody else's work. Uh, the moment you ask 3 questions in terms of depth to a starting question, it becomes very clear. I promise you. And try doing it with each other, and you will see the same thing. कि बंदा सच बोल रहा है या गलत बोल रहा है. One thing I talk about always as an ex-marketeer is that what is your brand? When you're coming in, you're doing a show and tell with someone. It matters. It matters, and it is very tied with another tip I'll give you, which is called memorability. You need to define yourself. You need to know what your ambition is. You need to know what your 5 year goal is. All of these cliched questions. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your examples of strengths? What are your examples of weaknesses? You need to work on it. You need to rehearse it. If your strength is communication and storytelling, please do it during the interview. If it's not, keep it short, which is my second 11th tip, which is brevity is your best friend. Do not give more information than necessary. Many a times we start writing about people who can't seem to answer the question because they start going left, right, center. Keep it brief, to the point where required, and where you're talking about passion, you can talk a lot more. So common sense will come into it. Meaningful questions, you must ask. You'll be surprised, but I think only 1% of the people ask a question which leaves an impact on you. That is your chance to interview me and build that win-win model and leave that memorability, not rememberability, which is what is that one thing which people will remember you for? A story you tell, a word. There's one story I always quote when I ask someone. I'll tell you. I'll give you a key. To assess empathy, I always ask this question: what does beauty mean for you? And I never get an answer which I can remember at the end of it. It's always beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, or beauty is self-confidence, or beauty is being comfortable in your skin. यही कहता है 99% यही तबका यही कहता है. I give you a challenge. Maybe next year I interview you guys. I will ask this question, come up with an answer which builds that memorability. And I say in 11 years I've asked this question. There is this one kid or two kids who said this, and I still remember. The same way I remember one candidate, I won't name who was when they were asked about their favorite fragrance. I think it was an Armani fragrance. She said it's like sunshine in a bottle. It's so small, curt, to the point, and so big thinking. It's such a big idea that it's something which has stuck with me. Who describes a fragrance as a sunshine in a bottle? She did, and she's pretty high up in L'Oreal today, by the way. But I thought it was pretty cool. Growth mindset is something very true to L'Oreal, but it's something you guys need to bring in your life, and it will help you in your career search as well as your career progression, which is everyone can be a great teacher's pet, or everyone can have a great CGPA, because it shows hard work. I always make this analogy because I had a shit GPA. I was like a 3 in IBM, which was very low. But uh, growth mindset is the mindset that if you fail, you will learn and you will grow better, which means कि don't be afraid of failure. It's okay. Even like I said, tie it with the first thing कि start out somewhere. अगर तुम लोगों को मिलता है कहीं पे जो तुम्हारा फील्ड नहीं है, and that's the only option you have, please do it, because you will stretch yourself and find certain parts of yourself where you never thought you would find it. And with my team, when I'm normally making their development goals, I always tell them to put one goal where they will fail and they will celebrate that failure. And the reason is not ke company ko duba do ya 100 million duba do. That's not failure. The failure is stretching yourselves and stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something which doesn't come naturally to you. For example, if I'm bad at rewards or मेरे numbers weak हैं, मैं कहूँगा कि नहीं यार, इस साल my goal is कि I will do all the offers for everyone that I hire. And then maybe sometimes I send out the wrong offer to someone. किसी का एक zero ज़्यादा हो जाए और 100,000 rupees से वो 1 million rupees हो जाए. That is a failure, but I can celebrate that because I can respond on that and say, this was a mistake of mine. So it lowers your ego, and next time you will come back much, much more stronger than someone who has never been faced with failure. Because someone who has been so perfect their entire lives, when they're faced with failure, they don't know how to react and respond. I want you guys to be so comfortable with failure and unfamiliar surroundings that no matter what the careers and the companies throw at you, you know how to react. The other thing one of the last things that I'm going to talk about is network. It's very important for a company like L'Oreal as well, and generally as well. Now, at your level, what is networking? Networking for you is all the opportunities. Ek to number one, the network within. I'll tell you certain lumps kids who have done it really well. Yes, it is Isaac. As much as I would not want to believe it, it is Isaac. Isaac really helps build your network. It is a professional network. It is not कि रात को 1 बजे मैं किसके साथ चाय पे बैठूंगा on Cafe Clifton or shit like that. It is more about who do I call for professional help. Um, can I speed dial Humble to, because I have an interview tomorrow, and I need help on coaching, etc. But what have you done to build that network or build that relationship with Humble? I'll give you an example. Um, Humble comes to Lums. He gives a lecture. Only 3 kids come up to him. They take his business card. They say thank you. They ask him a couple of meaningful questions. They move on the memorability. Humble remembers them. They leave him a LinkedIn message first and mention the fact that I came to Lums. And this is a true example, by the way. And I feel good. I respond. I say thank you. Here's my email. I give you my business card. Drop me an email. I work better on emails, which is what I always say. They say okay, fine, and they send me an email. They say, can we have 15 minutes of your time? Great. We're doing an ELP. Can we do it with L'Oreal? For sure. They come, they perform for 6 months, do a year-end project jo hota hai, etc., and they submit it. So much so that everyone that they work with through Humble's network in L'Oreal, on the ground, on the floor, that 50 people now know that person's name. So person A has become like a household name, so much so that when a position opens up, not an empty position, but maybe let's suppose a junior product manager position, the entire marketing team says कि person A को hire कर लो ना. उसने किया तो था, she proved herself, she was so good, you know her, you've met her, you don't even need to assess her. Bana banaya, why go through the hassle of advertising, spending money, time, resources, just hire the person. And I say, yeah, on merit she's actually really good, let's place her the offer, and she starts a job. This is what a good circle of network would look like, and that person A returns the favor. She goes to Lums and she does the exact same thing. um, there are many ways of doing it, but do it. You will get your where. People always ask me, where, how will we network, kya kahenge hum ja. I just told you, internship karte ho, keep in touch with these people. People come to your university, show the interest. Yes, I know you have other stuff to do. I know you have a football game to attend. I know you have a cricket game to watch. I know you want to go to the dhaba, whatever. But those things can wait in the larger scheme of things. It won't take your entire life. The hardest thing would be for you guys to look back and say, "Okay, yaar, what if? काश मैं कर लेता या कर लेती," is the worst place to be, because I don't want anyone to self doubt themselves. You all can do it. It's just a matter of who will actually pay heed to it and who will not. But network matters. I can openly say that 60-70% of my move to Paris happened because of my networking ability, because the person remembered me. The person remembered that I dropped her to the airport when she came from Paris, and she put my CV up there for a position that opened that I had no clue about. And they reached out to me one day and said, "Ke aapka interview hai with 5 other kids." And then it was my merit. So network will always open opportunities and doors for you. And it works. In a country like Pakistan, it's all Safarish. It's all, you know it. Maybe I'm not talking about MNCs or with better, but most places you know this. This is how it works. Do you know someone there? They will put in a good word. Even today, plus you're from Lums. There's so many Lums alumnus in L'Oreal. Our ex-CEO was from Lums. You already have the icebreaker. Can knowing that you were also from Lums, I'm also a Lum student. I needed your help. That's all it takes. Drop a message on LinkedIn. You'll be shocked how responsive people are on LinkedIn. Don't worry about ke, oh ye response आएगा या नहीं आएगा. It is very important. And your career after you start, it becomes even more important. People's perception opinion will matter a lot, because you are like little ducklings trying to survive in this big ocean of very opinionated, egotistical, and old well experienced corporate individuals. If they don't like you, they will tell 10 other people that you're not worth it. And the only thing that saves you is a good network or a good sponsor or your work. Merit is always going to be the base of everything else. Last but not least, I will come back to a couple of factors on trust and psychological safety. And I will draw some comparisons to your own lives. It's more of a coaching advice for you guys than your career, but it will help you because it stemmed. I wasn't going to mention this, but it stemmed from the fact that somebody told me that अगर जॉब मिल जाएगी तो उसकी भी तो एंजाइटी होती है. I said okay. I can't understand it, but I can understand it for the other person. The first thing is from my own self, which is patience. Um, I swear to you, I have been in your situation. I hope you guys are better than me, but I have been in a situation where I graduated. I wrapped up 4 years of life from Karachi and I went back to my house in Islamabad. And for 6 months, I sat in my home because I did not have a job. And every day of those 6 months, I felt worthless and I felt useless and I had anxiety and I faced rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection, especially after I thought I was the shit because I had an internship at Unilever and I got top intern for Unilever from my batch. And then they didn't even accept me on I'm very bad at exams. So उन्होंने exam कर दिया and exam में मैं fail हो गया था. So I never made it to the interview round, but their loss, I guess. The thing is, I've been through it and I know it's not easy, but the only thing which probably got me through is being grateful for what I have because I always tell myself two things, which is that there's probably someone who doesn't have it as good as me. And the other thing is, when I try something, I always ask myself, what's the worst that's going to happen? And these two things have always gotten me through life. And I hope you guys can develop that patience. Not every one of you is going to get a job straight. I hope you do. But if you don't, it's okay, and come back to the basics of saying let's start out somewhere. It doesn't matter, let's get a platform to prove ourselves. And अगर वो भी ना मिले अपना कुछ शुरू कर लेना, but things will work out in the end. You will look back and you will say कि यार पता नहीं मैं क्यों इतनी anxiety ले रहा था, ये भी टाइम था where I was thinking कि मुझे कभी नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी. And you will just wish that you better utilize that time to maybe spend on family, on yourself, bettering yourself. Please do practicing interviews. I don't know what it is. I didn't do any of that because I was like, oh shit, I'm worthless. Mera kabhi job nahi milegi. And it came along. So be grateful for what you have because I promise you, there are people who don't have it. Whether it be a degree, whether it be a support, a sponsor, a parent, a friend to talk to, or a professional network, or a sifarish even, even if it's not the right way. But a lot of people don't have that. So always be very grateful. And then when an opportunity comes, ask yourself, what is the worst that's going to happen? So dive head first to it and try to make the most of it. And I wish you the best of luck. The last thing, which was very, I know this is the third time I've said last, but I promise, though your slide iske baad, then you guys can ask me questions and we have 3 minutes left, which is very true to your generation is purpose. जब आज मुझे किसी ने बोला कि यार मैं जब ज्वाइन कर रही थी ना तो मैंने ये देखा था कि उनकी लीडरशिप में बंदियां कितनी हैं. I was like, really? Why did this matter to you? And she's like, because I have interned in male-dominated companies and I hated it. And I can't even put myself in her shoes कि उसके साथ ऐसा क्या हुआ होगा that she felt that she does not want to work in any company where the ratio of gender is not good. So I laud your generation for putting this on the map. And your purpose is not my purpose, and my purpose is not your purpose. Everyone has a different purpose. You're a purpose-led generation. You guys can make a decision कि मैंने इसके साथ काम नहीं करना क्योंकि I believe they are promoting cancer, for example, cigarettes, right? Or you can say, I don't want to work with X company because they're brilliant, their products are great, but they are known for animal cruelty. Any company could be any company. Uh, you can also say that I don't want to work with this company because their carbon footprint is shite. Again, this is true to your generation, and I love that, and I wish us as a generation had that. Don't give that up. अब मैं लोगों को यही बताता हूँ, पहले नहीं बताता था कि यार at the end of the day लिपस्टिक बेच रहे हैं, बिक जाएगी. पाकिस्तान में नहीं बिकेगी, कहीं और बिक जाएगी. But you have to connect with yourself at a very early level, and it will help you with that win-win model that I spoke about. and more than that, it will help you on your motivation to come to work every day, loyalty to work for a singular company or more companies, etc. Is going to be based on the reason why can you get behind the purpose of the company. For example, L'Oreal's purpose is create the beauty that moves the world through sustainability, diversity, equity, inclusion, women empowerment. We are all about women, women, women empowerment, and beauty tech. So if anyone has that as a purpose, they would love to work with us. Um, so know yourself, know कि आप लोगों को ऐसा क्या करना है जिंदगी में, and what would you be willing to sacrifice and what would you not be willing to sacrifice. And if it doesn't make sense, then get the experience that you want from that specific company and move on. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, at the end of the day, क्या है? Surf बेच लिया, 100,000 units बेच लिए महीने के, क्या बात है? Very, very well done. But your life must have a bigger meaning than just selling 10,000 lipsticks in a month. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. And you guys already do that really well. So continue doing that. Keep us on our toes as the older generation and ask us those questions. Okay, what are you doing for X, for Y, for Z? And I hope you guys enjoyed the session, and I hope that you guys have a lot of questions for me because we still have half an hour. But if you want that half an hour to yourselves, you guys can get that as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. Over to you guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen in case you guys have any questions for me.
Yes, Abdul Mukeet has a question. Yes, please.
Of course.
All right, sir. Good afternoon. First of
Good
all, sir,
afternoon.
I would love to appreciate that the session was very amazing. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Coming to my question, so you just shared a chart in which it was a hierarchy, something which showed कि पहले काम and then a job experience, internship, and at the end it was
Mm,
mentioned that you could be an entrepreneur or start a venture or something. Given that a lot of people, lots of people
mm,
in India are doing a startup or something when they're studying in a college, their 4 year undergrad program, and also
बिल्कुल
in Pakistan. तो आपको क्या लगता
बिल्कुल
है कि like हमें इस पे अभी काम नहीं करना चाहिए? Isn't it worth it? Or we should start
नहीं नहीं नहीं
on something?
सो ग्रेट
Yes, sir.
क्वेश्चन मुकीत वो एक हाइपोथेटिकल चार्ट था वो सिर्फ तुम्हें ये समझा रहा था कि देखो एक स्ट्रेट लाइन में आपने अपने करियर को नहीं देखना विच मींस के स्टूडेंट स्टूडेंट के बाद जूनियर प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर के बाद प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर के बाद ब्रांड बिजनेस लीड के बाद जनरल मैनेजर फॉर अ डिवीजन जनरल मैनेजर के बाद सीईओ ये एक बड़ी आर्केक थॉट है बड़ी पुरानी थॉट है जहां पे हम कहते हैं कि अ करियर इज लीनियर स्टेप बाय स्टेप होता है मैं कह रहा हूं कि आज की दुनिया ऐसी है कि आप सीईओ आज बन सकते हो अपनी कंपनी खोल दो कहो आई एम सीईओ राइट उधर से रिजाइन करो कि यार नहीं चला ठीक है व्हाटएवर आफ्टर आफ्टर बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट यू बिकेम सीईओ सीईओ के बाद आप एक और एंटरप्रेन्योर बन जाओ अपने आप को कोई और टाइटल दे दो सीएमओ बना दो या आप शुरू करो आज मेरी तरह as you started as a marketeer, you followed three steps, but then you shifted completely and you became a learning manager. Learning manager से मैं सीधा shift मैंने मार लिया कोई comparison नहीं है talent acquisition manager. Talent acquisition से मैं चला गया HR director. सो एवरी स्ट्रीम वाज डिफरेंट मार्केटिंग भी किया फिर एचआर में डिफरेंट स्ट्रीम ब्रांड डिफरेंट कर लिया मेकअप भी किया स्किन केयर भी किया सो माय ओनली थॉट बिहाइंड दिस इज कि आपको अगर स्क्रू इंडिया यार तुम लोग इतना अच्छा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप करते हो अभी से मैं तुम्हें बता रहा हूँ कि आई एम मीटिंग किड्स एवरी डे एंड आई एम अमेज्ड कि उनके इतने फॉलोअर्स हैं या उनका साइट पे बेकरी बिजनेस चल रहा है या ये वो आर्ट का उनका एक इंस्टा पेज है सो प्लीज मैं तो कहता हूँ कि फोकस ऑन दैट मोर बिकॉज व्हाट विल दैट विल टीच यू रियल लाइफ स्किल्स it will teach you skills it will not teach you theory. It will show you how to uh, uh, um, um, be better prepared for the future and make a well-rounded generalist opinion versus a very expert single-led opinion. तो मैं तो कहता हूँ for sure अगर मेरा तुम advice या opinion मांग रहे हो 150% become an entrepreneur in your first year if you can or even before that if you can. I hope that answers your question.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Who
All
else?
right, so
There's some.
we have yeah, we have
Go
few
ahead.
questions in the chat box.
I can
What do
read
you
them.
think? Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, this is Moaz, and he says, "What do you think about the future of data scientist machine learning roles in Pakistan?" Yeah, I don't think anything. What do you what do you want me to think? Data scientist machine learning roles in Pakistan. Yeah, it depends if there are companies who are advertising for these roles. I feel like maybe local companies शायद इतना ज़्यादा इसके अंदर अभी invest ना करें. So this the future of data scientists etc will be led by number one the startups or the bigger digital companies who will invest in it, like for example the e-commerce. Your e-commerce should be investing in all of this because that's where the other part of the world is working towards. um, but even machine learning or data etc, it requires an entire ecosystem and a huge investment. तो अब वो स्टार्टअप से आता है तो आए एमएनसीज का. फॉर एग्जांपल मैं लॉरियल का आपको सिर्फ बता सकता हूँ कि वी वांट टू डू इट, बट आज हम नहीं कर सकते. इट्स नॉट फीजिबल. हम शायद इन पार्ट्स डेटा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इफ आई टॉक अबाउट लॉरियल ग्लोबली, they've already started. Data scientists, machine learning, etc. It has already started in a very, very, very fast pace in France, in the US, in China. They're eons ahead. The future is great. Trickle down होगा, लेकिन like everything else कि trend पाकिस्तान में unfortunately late ही आता है थोड़ा सा, unless there is some startup which just brings it एकदम से with a lot of investment. That's what I feel. Javed Ali, I have completed my MS in physics, but I'm struggling to find relevant job opportunities in my field. It seems that there is little demand for my degree, and I'm unsure how to pursue a career where I don't meet the eligibility criteria for many positions. Could you provide guidance on potential career paths for someone with my background? I feel lost and need advice on how to move forward. Yeah, I'll be very honest. It depends on a lot of things. I can promise you it doesn't depend just on a degree, at least for a company like L'Oreal. Again, I speak for myself, I don't speak for others. Um, I, uh, how do I say this? I have so many kids that I hire who are finance background but are doing marketing for me. So the thing is, पहली चीज तो ये जावेद के it depends if you have some years of experience or not. If since you've done MS, I'm assuming एक दो साल का experience होगा. The way you can change career options at this level is that either you take a setback, which means that you apply for a position which is not at the level of 2 years of experience, but you know in the long run will help you. Because dekho, I can 100% understand if you go into a job interview and you are it's not that you are bad, it's just that the others are better because they have spent 2 years of relevant experience in a marketing, for example, and you're coming from MS Physics and you don't understand marketing as well as someone who's done marketing for 2 years. So they will most probably get selected over you. But are you willing to take that step back or say, कि अच्छा, I will start from a lower position in marketing? Then maybe people will say, okay, let's take that bet on Javed today. MS Physics ka personally, I cannot tell you because that's again something that we don't hire on. But if you're looking for a management trainee position, I hope you applied to our management trainee level. It has nothing to do with physics. We are hiring you based on your potential, and then we decide together with you कि आपको कहाँ पे land करना है. And most management trainee positions are the same. Maybe Javed, I can give you some guidance separately because I need some information from you so that I can guide you. What I'll do is I'll drop my email address in the chat, Javed. If you could reach out to me, what I'll do is I'll set up a brief call with you in the coming week to guide you. I hope that kind of makes sense because I also don't want to make it very specific and maybe I don't want to ask you the questions because they might be a little confidential for you. I don't mind it, but I don't want to do it on a bigger forum or the things that I want to say. But I'll definitely advise you. So please take my email address and email me with this context. Our mentor will answer. Oh, that's you. Doesn't L'Oreal predominantly hire from the talent pool obtained through L'Oreal Brandstorm? Yes, we do. That is something which is celebrated for us globally. That we are, because we in L'Oreal Pakistan we hire through Brandstorm, unless you have missed Brandstorm for a very, very, very legit reason, Gohar. For example, somebody was sick and they couldn't do it, and they have the proof for it. We are not we're not tyrants. We will still give the exception. Another exception we give Gohar is to Pakistanis who go for their universities abroad, because unfortunately when you go abroad you don't have Brandstorm there. You can't find a team to play for Pakistan sitting in a London, for example. So all the CVs that we get of, we call borderless talent for for management trainee or interns or even for project trainees, only these three we will also consider them, because उन बेचारों की क्या गलती है, you know. I hope that answers the questions. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
Yes, guys, is there any other question before we end this session? Okay, we'll wait for 5 seconds.
Perfect.
All right. So thank you so much, Humble. Thank you for this
Of course.
amazing session and for taking time out from
Of
your
course.
busy schedule. And it was very helpful, very insightful. I don't know about the others, but I learned a lot. So yeah,
Great.
thank you so much. And
Thank you
thank you
so much.
all for your presence. Stay tuned for the upcoming mentorship sessions. Thank you all. Have a very good day. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Again, I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, but मैं थोड़ा सा old school हूँ. मैं LinkedIn पे इतना active नहीं हूँ जितना आप लोग हैं. मुझे please email करते हैं. I will respond on it better. I'm a nerd or a theta that way. So email me, and even LinkedIn me when I do get the chance. I will respond there as well. Thank you so much, Yusra, for your time and for your students. Take care, guys.
You're welcome.
Have a great
Thank
rest
you.
of your week. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.